At around 7 p.m. on Sunday, June 12, 1977, the night before camp started, 3 girls, Lori Lee Farmer 8, Doris Denise Milner 10, and Michelle Heather Goose 9, huddled in their tents. The girls were all residents of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, a suburb of Tulsa, on a Girl Scout camping trip at Camp Scott. They were sharing tent number 7 in the camp's Kiowa unit, which was located the farthest from the camp counselor's tent and partially obscured by the camp's showers. At around 6 a.m. on June 13th, a camp counselor on her way to the shower saw a girl's body in her sleeping bag in a wooded area just outside the tent area.
At around 6 in the morning, there's a frantic knock on the door of camp director Barbara Day.
My husband Richard, who was staying with me that very first weekend, went to the door.
It's one of the Kiowa camp counselors, and she's absolutely terrified.
The counselor explained she was trying to be the first one to the staff showers that morning, and so she'd gotten up early and was walking out of the camp when she saw a girl partially clad lying upon a few sleeping bags on the side of the trail. We had a camp nurse, and we got her and drove to the location.
When they arrive, the camp nurse rushes to the little girl's side and checks her vitals, but is shocked to discover that it's too late.
It was discovered that all 3 girls from tent number 7 were missing. They had been left on a trail leading to the showers, about 150 yards from their tent. Subsequent testing showed that they had been bludgeoned and strangled. All 3 girls had been raped. A large red flashlight was found on top of the girls' bodies. A smudged fingerprint was found on the lens. A footprint from a 9.5 size shoe was also found in the blood in the tent. Evidence led investigators to Gene Leroy Hart. He had been at large since 1973, after escaping from the Mays County Jail. He had been convicted of kidnapping and raping 2 pregnant women, as well as 4 counts of first-degree burglary. Raised about a mile from Camp Scott, Hart, a member of the Cherokee Nation, was arrested within a year at the home of a Cherokee medicine man. Although the local sheriff pronounced himself 1,000% certain that Hart was guilty, Hart was acquitted in March 1979 after a jury unanimously returned a verdict of not guilty. As a convicted rapist and jail escapee, Hart still had 305 years of his 308-year sentence left to serve in the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. On June 4, 1979, 2 years after the murders, Hart collapsed and died of a heart attack at the age of 35 after about an hour of lifting weights and jogging in the prison exercise yard. DNA testing performed in 1989 was officially inconclusive, as it did reconfirm Hart as a suspect, but did not narrow the pool of possible suspects enough. The DNA test showed 3 of the 5 probes matched Hart's DNA. Statistically, DNA from 1 in 7,700 Native Americans would obtain these results. In 2008, authorities conducted new DNA testing on stains found on a pillowcase, the results of which proved inconclusive because the samples were too deteriorated to obtain a DNA profile. In 2017, $30,000 in donations were raised by the sheriff in order to do new DNA tests using the latest advances in testing. In 2022, authorities made public that DNA evidence strongly suggests Hart's involvement. Sheriff Mike Reed of Mays County said, "Unless something new comes up, something brought to light we are not aware of, I am convinced where I'm sitting of Hart's guilt and involvement in this case." Reed said the results of the DNA tests have been known since 2019, but did not go public with the findings until asked to do so by the victims' families. DNA testing performed in 2017 strongly suggests Hart's involvement in the crime, though the case remains officially unsolved.
We're not able to exclude Gene Leroy Hart as being a contributor to that DNA profile.
The other partials connected to the victims.
There were none that were not linked to somebody known in this case.
Now a cold case close to being cracked.
As far as the OSBI goes and the evidence that we have, our belief is that Jean Leroy Hart committed the murders. And the evidence that we have doesn't exclude him. It doesn't point to anyone else. And so we will close the case that way.
If you are interested in true crime, subscribe to get notified when we upload a new video.